Welcome back to Exotic Car Playplace, everybody. Thanks for joining in again today on this beautiful Sunday morning. And welcome back to another great episode of Car News is Our News. And today we're going to dive into the latest news about BMW. Firstly, we're going to talk about BMW is changing their new logo. Have you heard about that? We're going to get into that. We're also going to share with you a scary road rage incident involving a BMW and a truck. And we're going to talk about a BMW that had an altercation with a train. Later on, we may even dive into an actual photo of what the new M4 front grille will look like. This was an actual spy shot behind the scenes, finally uncovered. Let's get into it now. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Mark with Exotic Car Playplace. Let's get into the first point of news, and that is BMW's new logo. BMW has had that infamous logo for many, many years, which actually dates back to 1917. It's gone through numerous changes through the years. However, in 1997, they revamped the logo to be more three-dimensional, as you see today. It has that 3D effect, certain shading, and with that black border around the edge, it becomes very prominent and obvious and becomes very identifiable even from a distance. So with this new design, they're actually creating two specific unique design elements. One is an overall flatter appeal. It's getting rid of the dated and the three-dimensional look with the shading. Look with the Porsche 911 and the GT3, they basically just put a flat sticker and it did away with the actual Porsche logo on the hood. However, BMW is going to something similar, a very flat and two-dimensional appearance. But there's also a second part to this design element, and is the removal of that black outer ring, which quite frankly, I think is a little bit of a mistake because they're replacing it with a transparent background. Now, while that might look great under certain colors like silver, possibly the dark colors, blues, the reds, maybe even the blacks, it might pop. However, what about the silvers and the whites? It's going to actually just blend right in. What about letterheads? What about the signs on the side of the building that advertise BMW? What about all these areas that normally carry a white background? Are they going to have to redesign every part and every element of their business to accommodate the white ring and the white lettering because the black is now gone? We'll have to see. Now, a significant disadvantage with this is you've essentially lost that border, and it'll be difficult to parse and find the actual edges to this. And from a distance, it'll often be very difficult to identify the brand. And that's really not what you're trying to accomplish. You do want to brag what you're driving. But I get it. They're not the only brands making changes like this. How about Google and Yahoo, Facebook, and Volkswagen have all made drastic changes to their logos for the sake of creating a more modern look. So the senior president of customer and brand actually claimed that this was very intentional. They wanted to radiate more clarity and openness and make it a little bit more transparent. Quite frankly, it looks more like a case of a layer got forgotten in Photoshop, it got sent to the editor, and off it went by accident. So the second topic that we're going to dive in today is actually a couple of separate incidents that were caught on video. The first one is a road rage incident where a BMW was caught smashing into a pickup truck at relatively low speeds, trying to ram him off the road. The whole time, the driver's door was flung open. All you hear is smashing and banging, and ultimately it resulted in charges laid to the driver of the BMW. He was later released at a $30,000 bail, but let's let the video do the talking. Wow, that was a scary moment for that guy in the pickup truck. After they were interviewed, the driver of the truck had no idea why this was even happening, so it must have been absolutely scary for this individual. So the next altercation that we're talking about today is a video of a BMW that decided to run across a set of railroad tracks and disregarded a train that was coming a lot quicker than he realized. Check it out. Now, as you see the BMW crossing the tracks, he makes a hard turn. Boom! The train takes him out, but it's surprisingly, rumor has it, the driver of the BMW actually survived that hit and was released a day later out of the hospital with minor bumps and bruises. So if there's two messages I take out from that incident is, number one, stay away from train tracks, and number two, BMWs are probably some of the safest cars on the road. So the next topic that we're going to dive into is a study that was created that found and observed that men who drove fancy cars or premium cars like BMWs and Audis, for example, were often very argumentative, stubborn, self-centered, egotistical, and generally disagreeable. So a study was published in the International Journal of Psychology that really dove down and looked at the comparison between luxury car owners and the behaviors that they exhibit on the streets. They did actually observe road rage tied directly to the type of cars that they were driving. And Professor Jan-Erik Lindqvist of the University of Helsinki's Swedish School of Social Science said in a statement that many people who are running red lights, not giving leeway to pedestrians, generally speeding and driving recklessly were many times associated with driving German cars, for example, Audis, BMWs, and Mercedes-Benz. They also found that people's values and traits were corrupted. With wealth came money, attitude, and actually a vastly increased reckless driving performance. So is it really a question of the chicken or the egg? Is it the drivers that choose those cars that drive recklessly, or is it those cars that create the attitude to make the drivers reckless? Either way, there is a strong correlation, and studies have shown that there is a definite parallel between wealth, premium cars, and reckless driving. So the next topic that we're going to dive into is actually the 2021 BMW M3 front end grille reveal. Yes, I know lots of people have shown different spy shots or wrapped versions of what they thought the front end should look like. However, the forthcoming G80 M3 has been spied again, and actually a Beamer Post forum user by the name of F80MGM3 actually came up with a great shot, and it didn't have any camouflage on it. So what we're actually looking at is what we initially thought was BMW's Concept 4 front grille looks to be, in fact, a very high probability of actually making it to production, like it or not. Now, we would expect this new M3 and M4 to come out with that great new S58 engine, which essentially drives the X3M and X4M SUVs and puts out a whopping 473 horsepower. So that should make the new 4 Series, the M4 Series, very exciting to drive. The question is, can you get over the looks of the kidney grills? And is that horsepower increase enough to get over what that front end looks like? You let me know down below. But regardless, there's been many cases in history where the designers come up with some really outlandish design element, in which case it was initially hated by the public and it would eventually grow into something of a thing of beauty and well received by the public after a few years. So regardless whether you like it or not, it looks like the new buck teeth grille is here to stay as well. That new decal that you're going to find on these cars coming up in the future will likely be plastered right front and center as well. Thanks again, everybody. I know you enjoyed the video, and hey, if you want to see more news, how about some Audi news over there? We've got a great link over there as well. If you just want to be a subscriber and you want to follow along and see the next great video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the notifications bell. It's going to let you know when the next great video is out. Hope to see you guys on the next one. Catch you real soon. Bye-bye.